The summer is here. That means outdoor festivals, Comic-Cons, and the perfect weather for toy hunts. As the weather heats up and you're out there enjoying yourself, stay hydrated with our show's sponsor, Liquid IV. Liquid IV hydrates 2 times faster than water alone and 3 times the electrolytes of traditional sports drinks. And it's easy to use. Just rip open a pouch, pour one of their delicious flavors into a water bottle, and shake it up. With sea berry, strawberry lemonade, Concord grape, lemon lime, pina colada, tropical punch, watermelon, guava, and more to choose from, there is a flavor for everyone. So whether you're on that long toy hunt, spending 10 hours on your feet walking your favorite Comic-Con, or getting your sweat on, stay hydrated and healthy with Liquid IV. Get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code AICPOD at checkout. That's 20% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code AICPOD at liquidiv.com.
Are you ready, kids? Get your parents' permission, check your mailbox, and grab your shopping cart. It's time for the Adventures in Collecting podcast.
I'm Eric.
And I'm Dave. Welcome to Adventures in Collecting, where we talk toy news, culture, and hauls,
along with our journeys as collectors. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Adventures in Collecting.
Hi.
Dave, it's that time of the year again.
Yeah, Eric, hey, is there a lead to bury?
Dave, there isn't. Could you imagine that? No, our guest this week is a lot of toys.
Yeah. I already hear the fast forward buttons being pressed.
No.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully,
Listen to this.
Hopefully not. Yeah. So
Good.
It's June of as we record this. It is we are nearing the middle of June. No, the end of June.
We're nearing the end of June.
Yeah, nearing the end of June of 2023, which of course means we're halfway through the year, and it's our new kind of annual tradition. I don't remember when we started doing the halfway through. I honestly don't. But
last year?
Was it last year? It might have been last year. But
I think it was for the second year that we did a top 10.
Everybody loves a good list. Everybody buys.
Look it up. It'll be in the descriptions. You'll find them.
We buy a lot of toys. Lots of toys come across our paths these days. So why wait until the end of the year to do a top 10 list? You know, it's more fun to do one halfway through the year and then compare it to what you have at the end of the year. It's always a little fun to see, who ends up staying on the list. You know, those January, February pickups that fall to the wayside.
What moves around? What did you change your mind on?
Yeah, so always,
because I think I moved stuff around last year.
So let's put out some ground rules. First and foremost, collectively across the two of us, we are not doing honorable mentions this year. We're gonna keep this tight, or as tight as we can. So it is 10 releases. Now we both have slightly different personal rules to these top 10. So I'll do mine first, Dave. So this year for my top 10, I'm keeping it to individual figures. So in the past I've included, box sets, kind of releases, vehicles. This year I am not doing that. I am doing individual figures. So yes, that means that inevitably when the Hiss Tank arrives, the Hiss Tank this year for my list will be ineligible as it is a vehicle. I would have to pick a figure from that release. So I'm keeping this year's list to specifically to figures, to individual figures. So I have a hard top 10, so like they are ranked. It's not like I have a number 1 and then 9 figures tied for second. I have thought about this. I've been keeping a list since January, So that's how I'm structuring my top 10 this year.
I like to do the Dan Larson rules. If it is something that I was given, I would have had to have wanted to buy it. It's toys that were released within the year. Those are my two big ones that I enjoy from
Yes.
Dan's list. And the other one that I'm doing is sometimes it's hard to be like, if it's a line, which figure from this line is the best? When it all just like is really one thing. I think I did that with the Fortnite Micros.
Yeah, and you've done it with the Marvel the Marvel Legends as well.
Yeah,
in the past,
the 3 3/4 Legends. Yeah. I think if a series or a line needs to be highlighted and congratulated, I think it should be. But if there ever is an individual standout, then we'll go with that. But if it's something where it's just kind of amazing across the board, then we mention that.
And you did mention another part of the rule too. It is something that has to have been released, shipped in 2023. So not like you waited until 2023 to get something that came out in 2022. Like one of the things that will be on this list for me, it's kind of a teaser, is something that I had pre-ordered for quite a bit of time, and it didn't, I pre-ordered it back in 2022, and it shipped in 2023. So I know, some people.
Sting and Britt Baker the one year were like controversial, but they should have been on shelves and then following year. Yeah, but that's when Ringside got them.
Yeah. So there are a couple things on my list that I know for a fact people had in hand towards the end of 2022, but I did not get them. And it was not by no fault of mine. If I could have gotten them sooner, I would have loved to have gotten them sooner. But they did officially ship from the place that I pre-ordered them, and I got them in 2023. So I'm counting that.
And I'm hoping I'm right. Like I lost 4 months due to injury. So my time just barely exists. I'm hoping I'm within this year. I believe I am.
Well, with that, Dave, why don't you start us off with your number 10?
Okay. I believe The Doors said it best with "This is the end." In this case, it's the end of a line. And it's. I consider this the last one because it was the first to be like this, and it just so happens to be a very big favorite of mine. Near and dear to my heart, something I love very much, and it's delightful. It's a delightful figure. It is the Hasbro Marvel Legends 375 Ghost Rider with Hell Cycle.
It's just sleeping, Dave. It's at rest. It may come back.
If it does, then I take all of this back, but I still love this figure and motorcycle to put it into my top 10. Cycle. I meant Hell Cycle.
I actually finally saw one of these in person at Target, like very recently.
Yeah, they're still showing up.
And I only have one 3 3/4 Marvel Legend just because I love the Hulk, and I didn't have a gray Hulk in my collection, so I was like, oh, this is an easy way to get a gray Hulk on the shelf. Really cool line. I think they really kind of started to hit their stride, and then kind of got the rug pulled out from underneath them. As the way these things go. But
like if we were getting one vehicle, we were probably going to get more.
Yeah, I think probably the especially with do we have to say spoiler alert at this point? Spider-Verse has been out long enough, especially with like Spider-Verse, and like the car, the buggy being in the movie. I'm sure that would have been an accessory accessory, a vehicle at some point. Maybe the Fantastic Car. there definitely were options that would have fit very nicely into that retro line. So,
And thanks to Steve, I did get that running change.
there we go.
I did find that storm.
Yeah, an update a few weeks later, months later.
Yeah, I ran out and got that immediately afterwards.
You completist.
Well, those, yeah.
So that takes us to my number 10. My number 10, it's interesting. with my number 10, I kind of feel like, not to quote the Heath Ledger Joker, but like I kind of feel like a dog who's chasing a car and doesn't know what to do if he caught it. Because something I have always wanted in my collection, once I kind of went from 3 3/4 scale to starting to collect 6-inch scale figures, I really wanted an Indiana Jones figure. That kind of fits in with that. And this year we got the birth of the Adventure series, which is Hasbro's kind of answer to Marvel Legends and the Black series for Indiana Jones. So I have the only one I have from the series is Raiders Indy, and it's great. I love it. There are some things that I would like to improve, down the line. Like I think I'm definitely going to look for a custom, kind of wired whip for him at some point. The plastic one just kind of doesn't do it for me. It's a little too static, but the likeness is awesome. The details, it's got that Black series and Marvel Legends, kind of touch to it, which is awesome. But to my point, it, kind of at the top of this, the reason why it's number 10 is I kind of don't want anything else from it. Like it's like, the thing that I would want, in terms of like display and play and fun. If you think about it, like Indy doesn't really beat up the main bad guys of the movies, right? Like he doesn't beat up Tote. He doesn't beat up Belloc. He doesn't beat up Donovan. He beats up thugs and World War II bad guys. And I just don't see them making those figures for very obvious reasons. So I'm kind of like, okay, I guess I can have him beat up Hydra soldiers as the next best thing. So, I think with Raiders Indy, like I'm kind of done. I am getting Short Round too. I have him pre-ordered. And I think that's it. I think that's it for me. I think that's kind of a real quick in and out on that line. Unless
no Henry Sr.
I thought about it. The thing is that Indy, so like the Raiders Indy looks very similar to the Temple of Doom Indy. Just kind of like the jacket, the pants. If I get Henry, I have to get the Indy that goes with him too, and then now I have 2 Indies, and it's just like I don't.
No, you don't.
Yeah, he doesn't wear the same jacket in that movie. He wears more of like I almost want to say like a bomber style jacket. It's not that.
I don't know. All right,
I don't know.
That's fair.
I'm a stickler when it comes to little things like that. So yeah, I don't know. But that's my number 10. Indiana Jones, great figure.
This next one is the first instance of, I'll say, a line being mentioned on my top 10. And this one for me was like a obvious potential home run, and it was. We got some new characters that had never been made before. Lots of great stuff. And the downside to it is that it's not available you have to go out of your way to get it. And that's led to some of the parts of the series being borderline impossible to find. But I have people on the lookout every time they make their way to the delightful place known as Walt Disney World. I am, of course, talking about the Super 7 reaction figures, Disney Parks exclusive Tron series.
Headed to the grid.
Those light cycles, can't find them. I think they were there the first weekend.
I mean, it makes sense that those would be the first
Mhm.
things to go, especially considering they're being sold at a ride called Light Cycle Run. So,
Yeah.
it's the iconography from the film. So,
Yeah, and there are characters that are only available with the light cycles too, which is cool.
hopefully you get a rerun of those. I mean, as long as the
Mhm.
ride is, there and popular, I have to imagine that they want merch to stock there. I mean, Marvel Legends continues, or Marvel Legends, excuse me, Hasbro continues to stock the Marvel Legends Guardians of the Galaxy multi-pack at the exclusively at the ride. So
Yeah,
the
and those
gift,
Black Series multi-packs are in
yeah.
Galaxy's Edge as well. But yeah, it's you hope that at some point we get Legacy in there, so it's really cool to see.
Well, we know, having talked to Brian Flynn from Super 7, of course, he's a huge Tron fan. He said it on the show. His two favorite franchises, are Tron and Star Wars.
Hmm.
So, one would hope that he would continue to get figures out and maybe even, add some Tron figures to that
Yeah,
Ultimates line.
yeah, I am certainly on board with more Tron,
So,
and I can't wait to go on the ride.
me too. The next one for me is also kind of a throwback of sorts. And something that caught me completely off guard, and honestly, very well could have been, a kind of instead of being an individual figure, a line. But it was easy to pick just one figure from this line. Again, not one that I'm going super deep into. I think I'm actually done with my most recent pickup. Um, we'll see what Wave 3 looks like. But the Boss Fight Studios Popeye Classics, Popeye the Sailor Man. I picked up Popeye again. I'm a huge Popeye fan. It's probably my favorite, like, I don't know what you call it, non big comic house comic cartoon. Uh, I've always loved him, since I was a kid. It was the only way that I ate spinach was if it came out of the one with the Popeye logo on it. So I picked up the figure, absolutely loved it. Ended up going back and saying, okay, let me get Bluto so that way I have somebody for him to fight. Was awesome. Then I went back and got Olive, and then I actually just the other day from our friends at Chubsy Wubsy Toys, picked up Wimpy. So, but Popeye is an awesome figure. You get two head sculpts, removable hat. The crushed can. The hands, the fists. He's got all the articulation you need. And honestly, it was my first ever experience of the Boss Fight Studios product too. Like, it was the first ever Boss Fight Studios figure that I ever had. So, it's always interesting to see, when you buy into a new brand, kind of like their approach to toy making. Are the details a little softer? Are they a little, more, like, which way do they skew? Are their paints a little more matte? Are they a little shinier? So it's always interesting, buying a figure from a new, brand for the first time. And I was completely blown away with the experience, from the packaging, the figure, the colorway, the different types of paint, the articulation, just a super cool figure that does everything you need a Popeye figure to do, without looking creepy, which is really easy to do for a Popeye figure. It's very, very easy to skew too real, and he's terrifying. So, really great job. That's my number 9.
You hear that knocking?
I do. Who is it?
The forbidden door has opened, Eric.
Oh boy, has it?
Yes. In honor of the forbidden door opening, we have the Storm Collectibles ringside exclusive Minoru Suzuki. He is incredibly jacked for Minoru Suzuki. However, it is Minoru Suzuki. Therefore, a figure that was highly anticipated for me. It's the usual Storm Collectibles.
Yeah, it looks like he
Kind of-
stepped out of Tekken.
Yeah, that usual Storm Collectibles style.
Yeah.
Similar to Jushin Thunder Liger. You have his like greatest rival in Minoru Suzuki, so they are in that same scale and in that same world, but can still live in the world of your other wrestling figures. And to have another legend, and the face sculpt is off the charts. Like, it's so good.
Both of them, right? He's got two, right? Because he has like the tongue
he's
out.
got a chase, yeah. He's got the chase in the white gear, but I got the standard normal Minoru Suzuki, just black trunks, black boots.
Murder Grandpa.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I haven't gotten a chance to see yours in person yet. The pictures all look great. There's something that's like really... There's something that's really nice about those Storm Collectibles figures. Like, they really do have that kind of premium feel to them. The way that they're kind of like... I don't want to say like... I guess it is rubberized. Like, they have a lot of like soft kind of feel to them.
Yet it gives them an ability to be more fluid when they move.
Yeah. I mean, the back when we first, did our first ever list, and it's still, honestly, I still think it is it's one of the few perfect figures that I have is their Storm Collectibles Bane. I mean, when they hit a figure the right way, I mean, it's just nothing compares. Yeah,
the Liger is fantastic.
Yes, it is, and I actually have one of my own now. I ended up getting the green one, so yeah, awesome figure. One of these times you got to bring him over so we can have some fun with him, and
we can do that.
Him and Moxley in the light box. That'll be fun. So where does that take us? My number 8?
Yes.
So my number 8 is actually... Is it? Yes. It is my second newest pickup. Like, very, very, very recently added to the collection. A figure that I loved as a kid. It was actually... I played with it so much that the version of it that I have right now from the original version of this figure from like 1997, 98, is missing every accessory. Every piece that was glued on has fallen off. Spikes are missing.
Has fallen off?
Falled off? What did I say? Falled off? Has fallen off. Did. Has fallen off.
That goes with bicycle for me.
Bicycle. Falled.
Motorcycle.
I was trying to think of the thing that I said when we had Heather's boyfriend on the show that I'm now forgetting.
Paradigm.
Can you paradig it?
Dr. Paradigm.
Dr. Paradigm. No, so McFarlane Toys Medieval Spawn. So just a super cool figure. They made him a big old chunky boy, like he is in the modern books, but he's not a deluxe figure. So this is definitely one of those, like, how much plastic can I cram into the package for $25 or $23, whatever it goes for now. Absolutely awesome figure. You get a 6 sword, you get a giant like Warhammer. He's the new design, which he is in the comics, and the storyline that's going on with Medieval Spawn recently. I don't know if I'm like totally caught up, but most recently is a really fun storyline. So I'm not sure which person is supposed to be under that armor. There is the reason why it is so low on my list. As awesome as it is, and as well as it moves, and and everything, and the textures, it's missing a lot of paint. There is a lot of gray plastic on this figure that is just not painted, and there's like really cool sculpted detail on there. And this is usually something that McFarlane Toys doesn't miss. Usually, it's like, oh my god, I can't believe they took the time to actually like throw a dark wash on this. But this might be one of the few figures that I might customize. I might just hit some of this with a dark wash to bring it out, because there is a lot of unpainted plastic. But Medieval Spawn, welcome addition to the gallery of the ever-growing gallery of Spawn variants on my shelf. Loved him as a kid, love him as an adult.
All right, my number 7 I have in my hand. I picked him up. Just because I've been playing with him the past couple days. This is one where there have been a lot of really cool figures that have come out in this line, I think, this year, and maybe towards the end of last year too. Some of them were ones that were mentioned and talked about, but I feel like this figure kind of went under the radar. I don't remember it being announced. I just remember kind of seeing it one time and going, "Oh, that's really cool. I want that. Like that's a character I enjoy and I'd like to pick it up." So I'm heading into the 0 point with the Hasbro Fortnite Victory Royale series of Punk. He's an anthropomorphic Pumpkinhead. Now, kind of most recently been Chrome Punk in the game. Really cool. Comes with a gun. Comes with a couple baseball bats. His back bling that you could put the baseball bats in. Cool, good articulation. The one thing that I don't love is that the arms don't go out anywhere. They just kind of turn.
You might have to heat that up. They should.
Okay, maybe I do. Because I was really hoping to get him holding the bat behind his head, like over his back shoulder.
Yeah, I mean he definitely has the ball jointed shoulders. It's just some of the newer and this goes towards your, I don't want to say inexperience with newer Hasbro figures, but like with a lot of these pinless joints and the type of plastic that's being used on some of these
But he's
kind of
got his
like,
hoodie. Like it's a really cool figure.
it is.
Black and orange. He's got cool high tops.
Could potentially be from at least from the way that it seems. Nothing, no official word or anything yet, but it seems like that line might have or might be running its course. So potentially could be
Which is disappointing because there's a whole array of just characters that exist that it's a never-ending stream.
Yeah, I mean,
Who would have thought that I would have gotten into Fortnite super huge?
it's actually, it blows my mind that you're into it now more than I am. I'm like, I don't want to say I'm moving away from it. I still play it from time to time, but I definitely, my last figure was clearance Ghost Meowscles, and I think I'm good.
Yeah, this is my favorite one. Sludge was really cool. But I think Punk is like my favorite one.
Sludge is Red Ripley, right?
Red Ripley,
Yeah.
yeah. I also have Blue Ripley. I just like that translucent.
But to my point, some of those slimmer figures, like even I have the Spider-Verse Miles here, because the joints are so small, in order to make the figures sturdy and have these kind of small pinless joints, just sometimes the shoulders, the knees get a little frozen. Just, it's
Yeah,
like par
the
for the
knees are a
course.
little tight.
It's par for the course. Just if you blow dryer, hot water. You don't have to do it like every time. You just do it the first time and free them up, and then they're kind of good to go. All right, so where are we now? 7?
You're number 7.
My number 7. Okay. So my number 7 is a figure that is very closely attached to a meme these days. This is a film tie-in figure, iconic character, huge kind of gamble payoff. For Illumination Studios. Mario Brothers was a huge hit. They knocked it out of the park. They kind of broke the video game curse, as it were. But the figure in that line, and as cool as the line is of their kind of Jack's Pacific's Mario Brothers movie line. They're a little bit larger than the 5-inch Super Mario figures. I think these kind of come in at 6 inches. But the deluxe to scale, 6-inch scale Bowser figure is my number 7. I got this before I saw the movie, as well as Mario, Luigi, and Peach. I just loved the design of them, and I figured, hey, even if this movie tanks and it's terrible, I have kind of versions of these figures or versions of the characters that are beautiful. They're well done. They represent the characters very well. And then I opened Bowser, and he has a light and effects feature where you pour a little water in the back of his head, and he actually breathes like steam. And he's got an LED in the back of his mouth that turns the steam red, and it works really well. Not only that, like most of, if you think of in the past, especially when we were kids, like the gimmicky toys are usually kind of nerfed in terms of mobility. The ones that are gimmicky usually kind of just stay in one spot, stand there, and they can't really do a whole lot. This has fully articulated arms and legs. Yes, he's a giant turtle monster. So his torso and his head are kind of blocked and looking forward, but you can really kind of get him into some fun positions between the tail articulation and the arms and legs. And not to mention the price point of it was like ridiculous for what it was. I want to say it was like, it's been a while now since I got it, so excuse me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he was only $39.99. He was only $40.
I think he was like $40.
And there's a lot of plastic there for $40. I just think it's a great value, great design. And then, of course, once I saw the movie, and the movie was, absolutely blew my doors off. Jack Black as Bowser. It's just very, very good. Trying to figure out a way where I can put him, on display because he is very large. But it's an awesome figure, and that's my number 7.
My number 6 is another series, and I feel like it's another one that needs to just be applauded for what it is and for what it's become. You mentioned it before, and this is one that I had some of these when I was a kid. I at least had 3 that I remember.
Okay.
And it was one of those things where when I found out these were coming out, I needed to pick them up because mine might still be around, but like the fact that I can get like new ones and have them exist, and the fact that they were made based off of somebody's originals,
What a story.
makes them, yeah, what a story, right? And the fact that we've got new characters in that style, it's just really cool. And that's the Hasbro Kenner style Indiana Jones retro series.
Yeah, shouts to Chris Rife. Yeah, Rife. I don't know what it's Reef or Rife. On the Hasbro team, he kind of does all of the retro lines. So like he does the Star Wars one, and then now he does the indie one. But there's something real that is like really special about them. I haven't pulled the trigger on any of them yet. That's one where I know they already announced Henry. I think they might have announced Indy too from Last Crusade.
Yeah, and Sala, I believe.
I might get the pair of them in that version just because I never had any of those. My only touch point with retro Indiana Jones figures were those kind of atrocious Temple of Doom LJN ones.
I only had one of those.
Yeah, but I've seen other ones. I've seen like I feel like I've seen the Swordsman. I think was how they word it, or like Thuggy Guard maybe. But I don't know. There's something special about those figures, and like you said, seeing the new ones, like seeing Short Round out there now, like in that form factor, it's just it's very cool, very 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 cool. How deep do you think you're going to go on those?
I mean, how deep can they go?
I mean, that's the, not to get too sidetracked here, but that's kind of the interesting thing with Indiana Jones, right? Like, sure, they can make every version of Indy, and which they seemingly so far are, at least with the Adventure series, Map Room and Club Obi-Wan and,
I mean, so far they've made
Hypnotized.
5, 8
8 different
figures.
retro ones. Yeah. You got the 3, you have 2.
Isn't it 6 and 2?
You have 3 different Indiana Jones figures, right? You have
Well, so far,
Yeah.
that are out.
Yeah.
The Last Crusade ones are not out everywhere yet.
Yeah. Oh, okay, I thought you were counting those 2. Yeah, so
No, that's 3 more.
So yeah, so if you
Is
count
it 3 or
those,
4?
I think if you count those, it's 9.
Yeah.
But like, they could technically start to do retro figures. They haven't really done any of the villains, so like they could do,
Well, they've
Donovan
done Belloc and the
outside of the original run. I'm saying like they haven't done like Donovan. They haven't done Brody. They haven't done Brody's not a villain, but I'm just
No.
thinking of other characters. They haven't done. I mean, they did the guy with the little fez for from they fight on the boat. I can't think of his name. They did
I
him.
forget his name.
They did him in Adventure series. So I mean, anybody that's kind of that they'll do in that other scale. I wouldn't be surprised. If they show up in the retro.
I mean, we'll see. It's
Molaram would be amazing. That'd be
Yeah,
an
that would be
amazing
cool.
retro figure. And technically, you could do, one is enough, and just give him the removable headgear. All right. So where does that take us to number 6 for me?
But I definitely don't think I need a Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, you don't want a mutt? You definitely
no.
you need a mutt.
No, I'm good.
You sure?
I think I'm good.
You good without mutt?
Yeah,
What if he comes with monkeys though?
I'm good.
What if for San Diego Comic-Con the retro exclusive is Indiana Jones in a refrigerator?
That I'd get because it'd be fun.
But it's on card, and you don't actually get to
there's
see, you don't get to see Indiana Jones. It's just the refrigerator, and it's like he's in there, but you got to open it to see him.
And there's a groundhog next to it or whatever, or a gopher.
And it would be great too if like the figure is actually refrigerator and
A CGI gopher.
And instead of being an Indiana Jones figure inside the refrigerator has the articulation, and you just get like an Indy slug that just kind of like fits into the refrigerator.
That would be funny.
That would be amazing.
I don't know if they'd do that.
I would buy it. That I would buy. Just because I'd buy that. All right, number 6 for me. This is a figure that I did not think I'd be buying another version of this wrestler. Because I think every time. All right, so let me take a step back here. So
please do.
In 2019, when we were at Toy Fair, I don't know if I have told this story on the show before. I've definitely told other people this story. I don't know if I've said it on the show, but I had not watched wrestling in a very, very long time at all. I did not know what an AEW was. I was aware of the company Jazzwares and of and toys, but I again like did not know what an AEW was. Didn't know that there was a wrestling competitor. Like that's how far removed from wrestling I was. So I'm at the show, I'm at Toy Fair in New York, and I get an appointment at the Jazzwares booth. And there's this call sheet on the wall that lists the wrestlers that are going to be in there. So I take a picture of the call sheet and I send it to Dave, who couldn't be there that day. Damn it. And
you were probably better off, to be honest.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. You probably would have had better questions to ask them. But the two people that were there that day were Kenny Omega and Adam Page, who at the time, I had no idea, they were tag champions at AEW. And they were showing off the first wave of the Unrivaled figures.
I believe it was the first two.
No.
Hangman was Series 2.
Series 2, yeah. First two.
It was Series 1 and 2.
First two waves were there in prototype form. And the first person that I got to talk to was Kenny Omega. And this was his first figure. And again, like, I knew nothing about his kind of, at this point, like, I guess you could say storied history, right? Because he wrestled around the world, in Japan and everywhere. No idea who this guy was.
Like the best wrestler in the world at the time.
Like, literally, I had no idea who he was. The only thing, Dave gave me the primer of, like, he's one of the best wrestlers in the world, if not the best wrestler in the world at this moment in time. And, he's tag team champions with Hangman Adam Page, and they're both there, and they're both getting figures. This is the first time they've had action figures. That was my primer. And the way that Kenny talked about his figure, the way that he talked about the business, the way that he talked about the community as collectors, it literally made me want to go home and watch wrestling, and I did. Right? So when these figures initially came out, I could not find them, in the Series 1. I did eventually get the rerun of Series 1, and I made sure that I got a Kenny Omega figure because of just kind of this moment. And I love that figure. I still think it's the best figure in that wave. And every time Jazzwares has done Kenny Omega, you could say that some character, or excuse me, not characters, some talent have had better treatment than others, in terms of just kind of end result, in terms of like whether it's gear or likeness or, what have you. But every time they do Kenny Omega, they do him justice. He's an awesome figure. And after I guess we'll call it the belt collector, heel promo Kenny figure, and like the colorful shirt and the top knot and the glasses and everything. I was like, I'm good. I've got every version of this guy that I need. I've got like 2 or 3 awesome ring gear ones. I've got a promo one for pictures. I'm good. I have checked my Kenny box. I'm good. And then the Walmart Supreme figure shows up. And with the black leather jacket, the red ring gear, the V-neck shirt, the glasses, the 2 different head sculpts. It's literally, if it's not my favorite, it's, first of all, it is definitely my favorite AEW figure to date, period, from Jazzwares. And again, going back to that original story, like, it's just such a good figure. But for me, it's, in terms of a Supreme figure, it's everything a Supreme figure should be. There are so many different looks and combinations you can get out of the pieces that come with this figure. Depending on whether he's wearing the jeans or whether he's wearing the ring gear, the shirt, the jacket, the shirt and the jacket, the different heads. It's just, it's an absolutely stunning figure.
You had all the facial looks of Kenny at the time with the mustache or the sideburns or the.
So that's what's interesting though. That's the regular Supreme version.
Okay.
This one only comes with 2 heads.
All right.
So you get one with like darker facial hair, and then you get one with like a 5 o'clock shadow. So you still do get 2 kind of like versions of him, but you don't get the many looks of Kenny like you do in the other one. But I feel you get a more versatile apparel pack in with him.
You do need an Impact title to go with it.
Oh yeah, you really do. But awesome figure. So number 6, shout out to Jazzwares Magic and the team over there for absolutely crushing it. Sorry for the long-winded story, but I felt like it needed a little bit of context. So number 6, Kenny Omega Supreme, Walmart edition.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
This segment is brought to you by our friends at Chubsy Wubsy Toys. A traditional mom-and-pop toy store in Little Falls, New Jersey, Chubsy Wubsy Toys brings you the best new toys from the brands you love without the hassle of pounding the pavement searching for them at larger retail stores. Visit them in person at their brand new home at 101 Newark Pompton Turnpike, Suite 1 in Little Falls, New Jersey, or online at chubsywubsy.com. That's CHUBZZY WUBZZY.com and tell them Adventures in Collecting sent you.
Rewind and press play on your VHS collection with CGC. CGC is excited to announce our newest collectible vertical, CGC Home Video. As a division dedicated to authenticating and grading your VHS collection, our experts are ready to help you encapsulate your favorite video cassettes. Don't settle for static on the screen. Submit today at cgcgrading.com. That's cgcgrading.com.
Face it, shaker bottles suck. Your shakes always come out clumpy and they're a pain to clean.
You're right, Dave. That's why I decided to ditch my shaker bottle for good and get myself a BlendJet 2 portable blender. It makes perfectly blended shakes in just 20 seconds.
BlendJet 2 is portable, so you can blend up a smoothie at work, a protein shake at the gym, or even a margarita on the beach. It's small enough to fit in a cup holder, but powerful enough to blast through tough ingredients like ice and frozen fruit with ease.
BlendJet 2 is whisper quiet, so you can make your morning smoothie without waking up the whole house. It lasts for over 15 blends and recharges quickly via USB-C.
Best of all, BlendJet 2 cleans itself. Just blend water with a drop of soap and you're good to go.
With an array of colors, patterns, or even Disney-inspired designs to choose from, show off your personality while you're blending up something delicious on the go.
What are you waiting for? Go to blendjet.com and grab yours today.
And be sure to use the promo code AICPOD12 to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. No other portable blender on the market comes close to the quality, power, and innovation of the BlendJet 2. They guarantee you'll love it or your money back. Blend anytime, anywhere with the BlendJet 2 portable blender. Go to blendjet.com and use the code AICPOD12 to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. Shop today to get the best deal ever.
And now, back to the show.
So number 5. It's a wonderful time to be a wrestling toy collector, I feel. You know, you've got Mattel and Jazzwares doing excellent work with WWE and AEW respectively. But what's great about wrestling is there's a lot of storied characters. And, you know, some of those characters are legends, some of them are independent wrestlers, some of them are independent wrestlers that go on to be big TV stars. And this happened to be the case with this one. And it's one of those figures that was, you know, kind of a long time waiting, but ultimately came out this year. And was made to kind of quickly, or at least kind of released quickly as its own series, for a very good reason, which was to help the wrestler depicted as the figure. Prior to this wrestler getting signed, had broken his leg and was out of action, and the proceeds for this figure went to that wrestler. And this wrestler has gone on to be easily a wrestler that kind of crosses over into mainstream.
He's a phenomenon.
Yeah, he really is a phenomenon. Of course, I'm talking about Danhausen. I'm talking about Danhausen from the Zombie Sailor Toys Wrestling's Heels and Faces line. If you pre-ordered, you got the extra like jar of teeth and the
bag of human money, real human money.
Yeah, a bag of human money. I mean, it's Danhausen. It's what's not to. Everybody loves Danhausen, and if everybody knows, at least is aware of, there is a person in wrestling named Danhausen. He's had a New York Times article written about him. He's got coffee. He's he's everywhere. And it rules because he really is this kind of DIY phenomenon. And it was cool to see him get a retro style figure.
And
And
now
there's more chances for him to show up on the list at the end of the year because there's those Jazzwares ones coming.
yep, I am very excited for that Hookhausen pack. Very, very excited. Yeah. So shouts.
But he's got the cape, like
And-
it's just such a well done figure. It looks great in the package.
Yeah.
You know, well, all the props to Zombie.
I was gonna
and
say
to Danhausen.
Zombie has yet to miss. He has yet to miss.
No, he has not. He has not missed.
Good job, Josh. We love you. Number 5 for me. I don't know what else to say about this figure other than the fact that the bar was already pretty high on this figure's representation in my collection. One of my favorite Marvel Legends that they've ever made, in kind of that MCU arena is the Tom Hardy Venom, and then for Let There Be Venom, Tamashii Nations and Bandai took a stab at it and absolutely just crushed it. Just absolutely blew my doors off, crushed it. I love the slight like blue purple tint to the figure. Was a very subtle change that they made between movies 1 and the first Venom movie and Let There Be Carnage. I think, say what you will about both of those films, I think that I will die on this hill that the first one does not get enough love. The second one is riddled with problems, but I think the Venom and Carnage character designs are fantastic, and I can watch Tom Hardy be Venom like literally all day. Just watch him act against himself like an absolute lunatic. Is amazing. The figure is great, and it comes with what is single-handedly one of the most insane accessories an action figure in my collection comes with, and it is not even for the Venom figure. It is specifically made for Bandai Tamashii Nations, their SH Figure Arts Bodycoon figures, which are literally just like blank slate figures that have a couple of like 5mm, I think they're 5mm ports on their backs, swappable hands and stuff. They gave you the like symbiote thing to connect on your Bodycoon figure to make it look like Venom is coming out of their back and like yelling at them in the face, which is just, it's amazing. A little bit of blue tack, and you can have some fun with that on some other figures as well. But yeah, so that's my, what are we, number 5 is the SH Figure Arts Tamashii Nations Bandai Let There Be Carnage Venom.
It's funny that was your number 5, Eric. This is my last instance of doing, I would say, like grouping something together.
Okay.
A while back, not too long ago, there was a really neat event that went on. That went on in New York, and one stop on a world tour, but really the only place like on the East Coast, if not in the United States, where
I think they have one on the West Coast coming.
there was one on the West
I think
Coast
there's
as
like
well.
an LA one. I don't know if it
Okay.
happened yet, but yes, it's the only East Coast stop.
The only East Coast stop for the Tamashii Nations 15th anniversary world tour, and at that stop they had some exclusive figures, and they're not generally, there's something that I can enjoy. I enjoy the work, the beauty, the scale, everything about those figures. But they're not something that I've necessarily had as part of my collection. And I felt this event was like the perfect time because there were exclusive figures that I was like, okay, these are something that I want, and I can kind of limit it to this. And it is, of course, for The current greatest animated movie that's ever been produced.
Amen.
And that is, of course, the SH Figure Arts Tamashii Nations Bandai 15th Anniversary World Tour exclusive Spider-Gwen and Miles Morales. They're great figures. Like, they look like they just leapt right out of the film. Down to, like, Gwen's high tops to Miles. Like, there's kind of like a kind of awkward face that he has that's really cool. The thing that I enjoy about the figure arts figures is kind of how they're built in a way, like when it comes to changing heads and changing faces and, you know, changing the eyes on masks. Like, it's really cool.
Yeah, they are premium figures. I mean,
Absolutely. They're statues, they are works of art. They are every bit of deserving of the price point that they are.
Yeah, and the good news is too is if you're listening to this and you didn't get a chance to attend, this pop up event or another one, pop up experience, in your area, these figures are getting standard releases as well, and they are identical to these 15th anniversary versions. Just the 15th anniversary,
packaging,
have different
correct?
packaging. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, which is really cool because it's a nice little, like, sleeved package, which is nice.
So Miles, Gwen, and 2099 are all available for pre-order currently. And if you're listening to this now, live, new, adventuresincollectingpodcast.com/links. You can find them on Amazon right now. They're all up for pre-order. Yeah, so you can.
But yeah, like, these are something special for a movie that's something special.
God, that
So,
movie was so good.
Shout out to my first kind of real experience with figure arts figures.
Dave, my next pick is I think it's a little controversial.
Okay.
And I almost feel bad putting it on the list. And I took it off the list, I put it back on the list, took it off the list, put it back on the list. This could have been a couple of different figures from this line. This line has had a really strong first half of 2023, down to who is my newest figure, not Medieval Spawn. My newest figure is Ultimate Edition Seth Rollins, and as good as Seth Rollins is an amazing figure. It could have very well have been Ultimate Edition Andre the Giant, his wave mate, another absolutely incredible figure. Hell, it could have been Ultimate Edition the bad guy, Razor Ramon, which was another amazing Ultimate Edition figure. But, at the end of the day, wrestling has more than one royal family.
Okay.
Ultimate Edition, Mattel Creations, exclusive, Cody Rhodes. I'm a Cody guy. I am. I love him. Again, getting back into wrestling, the time I got back into it, seeing him in AEW and watching him come back to WWE, and I'm a mark for him. I am. Full admittance. And I purchased like you did as well. We each have our orders through Mattel Creations of Cody. But following WrestleMania, the folks at Mattel, shouts to our very good friend of the pod, Steve Ozer at Mattel, were kind enough to send some early production samples of Cody out to some folks, and we were fortunate enough to find ourselves on that list. And it's such a cool moment, that return, him showing up to wrestle Seth, and everything that's happened kind of since then. It's been a remarkable watching that journey. And there have been previously, to this figure, some really good Cody Rhodes figures. The AEW Supreme Cody Rhodes is a fantastic figure. But there is just something for me personally, my personal opinion. There is something for me the way that the Mattel face scans hit when they get the right facial expressions, and I just think it's the best Cody Rhodes figure that they've made. I do think, if we're going down the road of kind of like saying, opinion wise, I think the hard shell coat was probably the way to go. The way that the Supreme figure did it, the way that they've done like Bret Hart's jacket and things in the past with the
Shinsuke
swappable
Nakamura.
arms, Shinsuke. The hard shell coat, just kind of the way that it sits.
Ronda.
I think that probably would have been the better approach, but that's not to say that the soft good ones that they provided with the plastic feathers, scales on the shoulders, it's an incredible figure. I absolutely love it. And like I said, I think the whole presentation of it is amazing. The special box that it comes in, just across the board. Even the shipper, when you open the shipper, it's like he's back. It's really it's really well done. I can't wait for everyone else to get theirs once Mattel Creations start shipping them out. But yeah, that's my my Ultimate Edition. Mattel Creations Cody Rhodes is my number 4.
Well, you mentioned Cody, and it's from WrestleMania when he returned, and it's captures a moment in time. And what's really great about wrestling figures is sometimes they capture a moment in time. And there's one specific series, non-WWE, that's really good at capturing moments in time. And this is definitely one of a very memorable match. Dare I say, the best dog collar match.
Ooh.
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
What?
It is the Jazzwares AEW Blood and Guts ringside collectibles exclusive CM Punk versus MJF dog collar match. It is hands down, I think, it's a great MJF figure. It's the all-time best CM Punk figure.
You've really come around to the bloodied figures.
It's such because it's so well done. It's not just like, let's just kind of splash paint at a wrestler and make him bloody. Like those old legends back in the day. This is really more of like, we have this opportunity to capture something and do it in a way that respects the event and respects like the match in a way where, okay, maybe this wouldn't work on a store shelf, but it works somewhere. And I think the same can be said for those defining moments that just came out with Bruised Cody and with Hell in a Cell Mankind, where that's not going to fly on a store shelf, but it's for someone and it's for somewhere. And that's the really cool thing with these Blood and Guts match sets, where you have this incredible match that occurred and you have the ability to recreate it in some way. And I think another really cool thing is just how it's constructed. Like the dog collars, you'd expect them to be like this breakable thing. You pop the heads off and the collar is just a piece.
Yeah, I've seen some unbelievable photos. Shouts.
But it is hands down the best CM Punk figure that's been produced so far.
The likeness on it looks insane.
With the matted down hair and the bloody face and the screaming. I think the screaming face is my favorite one.
Yeah. So shouts to Tony Zaras on Instagram. He was one of the collaborators with our Austin 316 photo collab back in March. He took an insane series of photos with the two figures. I think Ringside actually shared them, so a lot of you
It might
probably
even
saw
be
them.
one of the best MJF so far too.
Yeah, I
The
mean,
Walmart one's really good too, but
they nailed the expressions. They absolutely nailed the
Mhm.
expressions. They needed to. They stuck the landing on it. So plus, I think this is the first time we've had CM Punk in those like shorts, in like the long shorts,
yeah,
right?
in the throwback
Yeah.
shorts,
So for now,
which he wore for the
yeah,
match.
yep. All right. So my number 3 takes us back to Bondi and Tamashii Nations. This was a figure that again kind of surprised me. One I was looking forward to only because I had a glaring deficit of this character in my Dragon Ball Z collection. But I was not expecting to kind of like love this figure as much as I ended up loving it. So SH Figure Arts, Dragon Ball Z, the boy from the future Trunks from Dragon Ball Z. Specifically, this is from the Cell Saga. What's really great about this figure is it's a 2-in-1. So usually with modern SH Figure Arts figures, you're either getting a Super Saiyan version or a depowered version of a character. You don't get two unique heads to swap. You just get kind of different faceplates. With this, you get his depowered, purple noodle hair, purple spaghetti hair, uh, and then you get his Super Saiyan hair. And what's really nice is you get kind of swappable bangs, so that way you can have things look like they're being like blown up, and he's like powering up for like a more angry face. You get kind of the brooding face. The way that the sword works, it's just he's stacked. He's an absolutely stacked figure. Has everything that you would need to kind of represent that figure. And the nice thing, something that they've been doing recently with these figures, is kind of giving you additional incentives to buy other characters. So that, for instance, the depowered head, with the purple hair, um, while it only comes with one expression, you can take the faceplate off, which very likely means that some figure, down the line, or maybe an accessory pack, will come with some additional expressions for him, which would be awesome. But super, super cool figure. The colors just, really pop. The new articulation scheme. I don't have the original SH Figure Arts Trunks from a few years ago, but I've seen some photos and some videos comparing it, and it's an unbelievable upgrade for those of you that might be kind of like on the fence. But I absolutely love it. I was expecting his wave mate in his dad, Super Saiyan Vegeta, to be the one that would have found his way onto my list, as that's my favorite Dragon Ball Z character, or my second favorite. But yeah, the SH Figure Arts, Boy from the Future Trunks. That's my number 3.
So my number 2, it was a figure that was my number 1 for most of the year so far. It may even slide down from number 2 to number 3, like that Blood and Guts dog collar match. It's like kind of like 2 and 2A, to be honest. But this is one where when they first announced it and first announced the wave, I was like, whoa, finally. Like, this is why I started collecting this line for. And, it definitely checked something off the wish list. And then you got those first glimpses of it. And it was like, all right, the rest of these are cool, but this one is like this is the standout. This is the one that's like, okay, it's the home run of the wave. And then you got it in hand, and it was like, yeah, this is pretty spot on, perfect, fantastic. And it is McFarlane DC Multiverse, the Dark Knight trilogy, the Joker.
Such a good figure.
It's like like one of the things that I always appreciate is when it's like, okay, here's a movie character, here's a wrestler, or here's a person, and it's just a small statue of that person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a small version of that person. And that's the case here. It's a small version of that Heath Ledger Joker.
This is another figure that in the past, like literally in the past, like, or I want to say like 3 or 4 weeks, has like fallen on and off the list as I've been making it. Um, because I too I was completely blown away by the figure. I think it's the best version of the Heath Ledger Joker that has ever been made in figure form.
Absolutely.
NECA did a pretty good job a few years ago. But
For $25.
yeah, I just it's so good. And I'm really excited that the heist, the bank robber one is coming out.
I mean, they can do so much more because there are so many characters they've not done from the films so far.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do bank robber Joker, nurse Joker. Like, there's
Nurse Joker would be unbelievable. Oh man, that'd be so good.
there's so many you can do. You can do like prison cell Joker, where his makeup's a little messed up and he's got no jacket.
Yeah, he's got just the vest and the shirt on, so that way you can
Mhm.
do that would be
The hands together,
yeah, or with the Batman
the
figure.
interrogation
Yeah,
scene.
never start with the head. Um, yeah, there's so many iconic versions. They should. Honestly, what would be a really cool like Comic-Con set? I know they haven't really done like box sets for the movie figures so far, but like a Nurse Joker with like a Harvey Dent in a hospital bed, that would be amazing.
I don't even need another like Harvey, but just give me give me Harvey
Yeah. Oh, that's
or
true.
Gordon
Yeah.
or
Yeah, we haven't had a Commissioner Gordon at all in that line. So,
Catwoman. Like, there's so many you can do.
Catwoman, Raish, they could do Liam
Rachel Dawes, yeah.
Liam Neeson. No, Ra's al Ghul.
Oh,
Yeah. Uh a Scarecrow without the mask, like just like a Cillian Murphy figure.
mhm.
Yeah, they have options. They certainly have options.
There's a lot that can be done. Lucius Fox.
Good too. Michael Caine,
Yeah.
a little Alfred action.
Mhm.
The size of tangerines. Uh, I just always think back to that "Fall on Your Sword"
Yeah.
band. Like, think of that one. All right, so this takes us to my number 2, and my number 2, you know, takes us to the line I collect more than anything else, which is Star Wars: The Vintage Collection. And this figure just was one I'd been waiting for. It was like that we've been teased by watching the Black Series version of this figure get released and twice, and then carbon collection or whatever they call the like fun like metallic
Oh, carbonized.
carbonized. Thank you. Um, and then the credit collection, which is like the end credits colorized sequence version. It's like, damn it, just give us this character in the vintage collection, and it's one of the best figures they've ever done. So shouts to Emily and the team over there. But from the Mandalorian, the Heavy himself, his story has been written. Paz Vizsla, just like the way that a deluxe figure should be presented in the vintage collection. He's big. He's got big accessories. He's got his little blade. He's got his giant blaster. He's got the laser shield for his forearm. He's got blast effects for his jetpack. He's loaded, and he's huge for like a vintage collection figure, which is awesome. He scales really well, and and he has the new articulation system. So for those that have been collecting vintage collection for a long time, know that to get your older vintage collection figures to move their legs outward, you have to like rotate them and then move them out and then rotate them again so that way the knees line up the right way. Yeah, you don't have to do that anymore. These new figures, they have those nice like barbell hips, so you can just swing their legs like an action figure should be able to. Um, so it was nice to get that figure, get him on an all new sculpt, get him with the new tech. Just really good figure. And he actually, in like a Kismet Star Wars moment, he actually arrived on May 4th, which I thought was really fun. And that was like one of those Amazon, hey, he's arriving early. I think he wasn't supposed to come till like June. But he arrived May 4th, which I thought was really nice. So that's my number 2, Paz Vizsla. Now, before you hit your number 1, let's take a quick moment. I know this was very last minute, but we did put a post up on our Instagram. In lieu of us having a guest, we asked our followers, just what was your favorite, what was one of your favorite action figures of the year so far? So we got a couple answers. Just gonna read through them super quick. Give a couple shout outs here. So, at Mike _W _421, the NECA Mirage Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4-pack. So, Target exclusive, hitting a little bit early. But that 4-pack is awesome. Seeing some great pictures of it. Love, all the love in the world for the turtles. Let's see, that's another one here. So the Nick Collectibles, at the Nick Collectibles, Indiana Jones Adventure Series Map Room Indie. So the one with the staff and the disguise. So another cool figure there. And then I'm just gonna pick one more here. Jada Toys Ryu. So the Street Fighter, those Street Fighter figures, man. I've seen the way that they move and the way that everyone's been photographing them. They look fantastic. I know Jada's kind of new when it comes to the world of action figures. Obviously, they've been making some pretty sweet diecast stuff for a long time. But yeah. Oh, you know what? Here, we'll throw in one more. So we do have one that comes from us on Twitter. So we're starting to get a little bit more of a reaction to stuff on Twitter. So we'll shout out one of our Twitter followers here. At Pintel Guy, the Mezco 112 Collective G.I. Joe Destro. So very, very cool. So thank you again to everybody that submitted your favorite toys of the year. As always, make sure Dave is going to tell you what to do here, actually.
Make sure to smash that follow button and hit those likes and follow us on Twitter and leave reviews when you download your podcast, when you're listening to this episode on your favorite podcast locations. And take part in the stories when we say we're having a guest, or in this case, when we have no guest and want to know what your favorite toys of the year so far were. But definitely subscribe to the YouTubes too. Smash that button and hit the little alarm so that way you know when we have a new video.
All of those things. So it's at AIC_podcast, and as Dave so eloquently puts it week after week. Make sure you're following us, Instagram, Twitter, all those places. Because we want to hear from you. We want to hear from you, and we want to talk about what you want to talk about on the show too. So, with that, Dave, hit us with your number 1.
So I mentioned my absolute love for when figures look like just shrunken down versions of the person they're depicting. And I think this is the height so far of being able to do this for this line. Hands down, I think the best figure in the history of this line. And I'm not just gonna say it, I'm gonna sing it. Oh, burn it down. Seth Rollins, Mattel WWE Ultimate Edition 17. I mean, 3 of the most perfect face scans you've ever seen. including like that, cheeseball grin that Seth has, the Seth screaming face, so you could have him like singing along with the crowd when he first comes out. There's like the stern Seth Rollins face where he's just like completely just stone faced and ready to fight. One of the best soft goods robes that I've ever seen included with a wrestling figure. Just hands down, like just plus stuff from Bill and Steve and Robert and everybody over at Mattel who do the WWE figures, who create and market and design and just pour all their love and appreciation into them. Like it's one of those ones where when you saw it on display, it was like, well, all right, that's the hand painted prototype, or that's the, paint master, or even just like the sample of it. And then you get the actual figure and it's like, oh, this is off the charts good.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, had it not been for that Cody figure, Seth would have been on my list. I mean, that one face sculpt, the kind of like neutral face, we've seen that they've been using that face sculpt or face scan for a while. It's got some different hair attached to it this time around, but
Yeah, I was gonna say the hair is different.
it's still a really good face. But those other two, he's a perfect example of, oh look, I
almost wish it was the face on the side of the package more.
That's the one that they needed. They needed the smirk in there.
Yeah.
But it's
the best one since Roman, I think.
It's unbelievable. And like I said, his wave mate, I don't know if you've gotten Andre yet, but Andre is ridiculous.
Oh, it's fantastic, but I mean, it's like
the 1,000-yard stare on that Andre is amazing.
But like, you're comparing anything to this one at this point.
This is definitely the new.
It's the new standard for the Ultimates.
So, and I want to mention this too, just real fast. We talked about Cody before, so Mattel, like I said, was kind enough to send us one in advance, which means that I still have the one that I ordered is coming. Which means it's going to go to you guys, the listeners, the followers. We're gonna put them up for a giveaway. So once mine comes in, we're 100% gonna pay it forward. I'm not gonna put that up on the aftermarket or anything. We are going to use that as our giveaway for whatever month that is once it arrives. So definitely keep an eye out for that, because
breaking news,
that figure will not be made available again to purchase. So yeah, if you didn't get a chance to order one, coming in late, maybe didn't have the funds at the time, whatever the case may be, we're going to make one available to you as a giveaway. So keep an eye out for that. Now on to my number one. Speaking of giveaways, this was one of the first figures that I received in 2022 or 2023, excuse me, but all the way back in January. Walmart exclusive of this figure, and we did end up using it as a giveaway, because at the time I was like, do I really want this? I really don't think I need this. A lot of people seem to really want it and didn't get a chance to get it. And I sat there and I looked at this figure for a month, and I had already committed to it being the giveaway. Could not obtain another one, and by the end of the month, I was really, really sad that I had to put it in a box and send it away. It has been an absolute banner year for Spider-Man in general. Spider-Man figures, especially with Marvel Legends. Hasbro Pulse, the exclusives, the VHS 2-packs. I can't believe that I have an Aunt May and a Doc Ock with tentacles. The symbiote Spider-Man and Carnage 2-pack. There has been a slew of amazing Spider-Man figures, unintended, including the Spider-Verse figures. It's just a lot. But there has also been what I think is the greatest Spider-Man Marvel Legends figure ever made, period, on the best body, the best paint, best deco.
I'm talking about the Spider-Man, the animated series, cel-shaded Spider-Man. I mentioned it before. There are very few figures in my collection that I consider to be perfect. Like, would not change a thing about them, other than like I wish he could get up and walk around on his own. And this Spider-Man is perfect. It is perfect. It comes with a bevy of hands, so you get fists, you get the splayed out hands, you get the thwip hands. It moves like no other Spider-Man figure prior to it. They have used this body on the Amazing Fantasy, was that 15, the debut Spider-Man, with like the darker colorway. So we've seen this body since, but seeing him in this colorway with these blues and reds, with these eye lines, with the subtle cell shading, and dark lines on him, the positions that he could get into, it's perfect. It's the perfect Spider-Man figure. He's also a slightly smaller scale than the previous like super articulated, like that new body that they were using. So he is kind of more of that like teenager body, which makes him scale a little bit smaller with some of the bad guys, which I think is amazing. Yeah, it's my number one figure, because I think, like I said, it's the best Spider-Man figure they've ever made. I don't think they'll stop making Spider-Man figures, obviously, but it's gonna be really hard to bump this guy off my list. I'm really, really curious to see what the back half of 2023 looks like, because it's gonna be really, really tough. And this is coming from somebody that primarily collects MCU figures. This figure is so good that it actually like burst the door open on like, well, I guess I need some comic guys for him to go with now, because I can't just have one comic cartoon Spider-Man. So damn you, Dwight and Ryan and Dan, Stevie. Just absolutely fantastic, amazing, spectacular, amazing, friendly Spider-Man figure. Marvel Legends. That's it. So that's our list.
Yeah.
So as we mentioned, we'll take this list, and at the end of the year or beginning of 2024, usually we do it in January. We'll compare this list to that one, and we'll see what changes, where things stand come 2024.
There's always that one that gets in under the wire that's like the disruptor.
And if the first half of 2023 if we've learned anything from the first half of 2023 is there's a lot of toys. So and then
a lot of great toys.
And the back half, is includes the holiday season, the end of summer, kind of summer rush with toys. So stay tuned. There's a lot coming. So I think with that, Dave, the only other thing that we should do is send everybody home.
Yeah. Enjoy the second half of the year, everybody.
Thank you for hanging out with us today. Subscribe, rate, and review this podcast wherever you listen, and then tell your friends to do it. Thanks also to Joe Azari, the golden voice behind our intro. Learn more about him in the show notes. Our music is Game Boy Horror by the Zombie Dandies.
Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Adventures in Collecting, and on Twitter at AIC_podcast. Stop by and say hi. Show us your hauls and photos. Tell us your toy stories. Maybe we'll talk about it on a future episode.
Don't try this at home. Void where prohibited and some assembly required. Each sold separately, not a flying toy. Consult a physician if your toy run exceeds more than 4 hours.
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer, Frank Hablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.